The top stories tonight in Y News. Senator Manny Pacquiao disagrees with President Rodrigo Duterte's assessment of his knowledge on foreign policy.
The Philippines is expecting to receive the largest number of COVID-19 vaccine doses in a day with 3.27 million doses as several vaccination sites experience supply shortage.
The Department of the Interior and Local Government urges the CPP-NPA to surrender the perpetrators of the Masbate City mine blast that killed 2 people. The Department of Health said that the term epicenter should not be used to describe Davao City amid the surge of COVID-19 cases.
The Philippine National Police has filed criminal charges against persons involved in the vaccine slot for sale scheme in Mandaluyong City.
And Google and Harvard unveil most detailed map of the human brain. Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Wednesday, June 9, 2021. I am Harleen Delgado.
Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the country and in other parts of the world. I'm Angelo Castro III.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media accounts and our website, untvweb.com. I am William Theo.
First in the news. The exchange of words between President Rodrigo Duterte and Senator Manny Pacquiao on the West Philippine Sea issue continues. President Duterte advised Senator Pacquiao to study first before making any comments on the issue. However, the senator said he humbly disagrees with the president's assessment. Meanwhile, there is no chance that President Duterte will pair with his daughter, Davao City Mayor Sara Inday Duterte, in the 2022 national elections. Rosa Licons explains why.
Senator and boxing champ Manny Pacquiao believes President Rodrigo Duterte was misinformed regarding his statement on the West Philippine Sea issues. Yesterday, President Rodrigo Duterte hit the senator over his recent statements on the maritime dispute, in which the senator said he finds the president's stance on Chinese incursions lacking. According to the chief executive, the senator should study first before he criticizes the foreign policies and inactions of the government. However, Senator Pacquiao said in a statement that he humbly disagrees with President Rodrigo Duterte's assessment of his grasp of foreign policy. He added that he was merely echoing the sentiments of fellow Filipinos that we should stand strong in protecting our sovereign rights while pursuing a peaceful and diplomatic solution to the dispute. Meanwhile, it seems like President Duterte has no plans to run for a national position in the 2022 elections. This is despite the appeal for him by the administration party PDP Laban to run for vice president in the 2022 national elections and choose his running mate. According to the president, he would resist calls to run for next year and he is ready for his retirement. Apart from this, he also said that he does not see anyone deserving at the moment as his potential successor. However, he admitted he has already someone in mind but refused to name the person in public. Also, he recently advised his daughter Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio not to run for presidency in the upcoming elections. He told her presidency is a thankless job. Rosa Licos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Opposition Coalition Isang Bayan convener Attorney Howard Calleja clarifies that it is not their policy to send President Duterte to jail if their candidates or presidential bet will win in the 2022 elections. Dante Amento tells us why live. Yes, Dante.
Arlene, in a recent interview, former and opposition Senator Antonio Trillanes IV has disclosed his plan to run for the 2022 national elections. Trillanes stressed that he will surely send incumbent President Rodrigo Duterte to jail if elected as president. Attorney Howard Calleja, one of the conveners of Isambayan Coalition, says Trillanes is one of their possible nominees either for president or vice president, and that they respect Trillanes' position over the president.
He has always been part of the named nominees for the position of president and vice president and even senator, because he can run for the Senate. So I think all positions, all options are open for Senator Sani.
But Calleja explains it will not be the Isambayan policy jailing President Duterte if their candidates will win in the elections and they will still follow the rule of law.
O hindi naman kami para magkuha ng regime change para magpakulong ng kahit sinong tao. Although we understand that anyone that has committed any crime, whether to the government or to any other person, should face the rule of law, should be accorded due process.
What is clear for now is Sambayan is not or will not include in their nominees those allegedly behind the extrajudicial killings, candidates who do not assert our rights over the West Philippine Sea, and those who supported the controversial anti-terrorism law. Calleja believes Isambayan will have a unified slate against the administration's candidates. Meanwhile, political analyst Ramon Casiple says it is still not clear who will be the standard bearer, particularly for president, either of the administration or opposition, though there are already names that surfaced but still lack of confirmation from the personalities being named.
Si Trillanes, sarili niya. Kwento na si Bongbong Marcos ay posibleng tumakbo. Marami aktuang pangalang lumitaw. Kaya lang, ang kaibahan ng lahat ng yan, hindi sila ang pinanggagalingan ng kwento. Ibang tao ang nagkukwento.
This coming June 12, Harleen, 2021, Saturday, Isambayan will publicly announce the process of election or selection for nominees in the national candidates. And that's the latest live. Back to you, Harleen.
Thank you, Dante Amento, reporting live.
Meanwhile, 3 months after the death of Calbayog City Mayor Rolando Aquino, the Philippine National Police revealed in a Senate panel probe that they have filed homicide raps against police officers involved in the alleged shootout. Meanwhile, the son of Mayor Aquino denies his alleged involvement in the death of 2 police members after the PNP filed murder charges against him. Harleen Delgado will tell us why.
The Philippine National Police has filed homicide and frustrated homicide charges before the Calbayog City Prosecutor's Office against several police members who were involved in the killing of Calbayog City Mayor Ronaldo Aquino on March 8. They are the members of the PNP Integrity Monitoring and Enforcement Group, Police Lieutenant Colonel Harry Socaire, Police Major Shairil Tan, and Police Lieutenant Julio Armeza Jr. The PNP in its presentation maintained that it was Mayor Aquino's security aides who fired first, noting that what happened was a shootout and not an ambush. Meanwhile, 2 counts of murder charges were also filed against the mayor's son, Ronald Mark Aquino, a police officer, and several unnamed individuals. This as the police claim that Mark and 2 other men armed with high-caliber firearms fired at the vehicle of members of the Provincial Drug Enforcement Unit, or PDEU, and killed Police Captain Joselito Tabada and Police Staff Sergeant Romeo Laoyon.
So you stand by your statement na nakita mo si Mark Aquino na bumabaril at saka si Rosales doon sa natumba na kasamahan niyo doon sa taas?
Yes. No.
However, Mark denies the allegations. He says he was waiting for his father at their resort for the celebration of his birthday. The resort, according to Mark, is 15 minutes away from the crime scene.
Pagdating namin po doon, unang tinignan ko po ang sasakyan ng father ko po. Naabutan ko po na walang buhay na siya at tad-tad po ng bala. At wala po akong ibang ginawa kundi yakapin ang tatay ko. Nung pagpunta ko po doon, tahimik na po. Wala na pong nangyaring putukan at marami na pong sibilyan. Yun nga po ang pinakamasakit sa lahat na kami na nga po ang pinatayan ng ama. Ako pa po ang kinasuhan.
Mark believes the killing of his father had long been planned and that politics was the motive behind the slay. The camp of the mayor's son also presented an active police officer who testified before the committee. Police Master Sergeant J. Senario claims a political rival of Mayor Aquino and PDEU Chief Tabada, who was among the fatalities, ordered him before to implicate Mayor Aquino in illegal drugs. Both the PNP and the PIDEA said in the hearing that Mayor Aquino was not included in the drug list.
I was called my attention by Police Captain Tabada. Sabi niya sa akin, kung pwede daw gumawa ng isang mga dokumento for search warrant at saka yung pag-surveillance doon sa bahay ni Mayor Aquino. Kasi that time, sir, two options kasi yung ibinigay sa akin. It's either to apply search warrant or i-ambush na lang si Mayor Aquino.
The National Bureau of Investigation says they will continue their investigation as they have yet to identify the mastermind behind the killing. Jorlene Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines and the Philippine National Police will file criminal charges against members of the New People's Army involved in the Masbate mine blast that killed Far Eastern University football player Keith Absalon and his cousin. Nina Armilio reports.
DILG Secretary Eduardo Año urged the Communist Party of the Philippines New People's Army to surrender the perpetrators of the Masbate city mine attack that killed 2 people. This was after the CPP-NPA took full responsibility for the tragedy. In a statement, AFP spokesperson Major General Edgardo Arevalo said it is not enough that they admit responsibility and let their offenses pass. Secretary Año said the perpetrators can be turned over to the Commission on Human Rights or to the Makabayan Bloc. The Interior Secretary reiterated that the use of anti-personnel landmines, which is prohibited in the Philippines under the Mine Ban Treaty, is a war crime and charges will be filed soon. Justice Secretary Minardo Guevara says suspects behind the attack may be held liable for genocide and other crimes. The NPA has planted an improvised explosive device in Barangay Anas, Masbate City last Sunday, June 6, which killed football player Keith Absalon and his cousin Nolven Absalon. Others were injured. CPP Information Officer Marco Balbuena, in a statement, said the CPP-NPA expresses their deep remorse over the untimely and unnecessary deaths. Meanwhile, the Makabayan Bloc condemned the said incident and calls it a violation of international and humanitarian law. Nina Armilio, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
An inquiry on the recent spate of rotational brownouts in Luzon will be conducted tomorrow in the Senate in the hope of providing a long-term solution to the power supply shortages, especially during the summer season. However, Senate Committee on Energy Chairman Senator Sherwin Gatchalian warned that the country may experience more power outages if a status quo between National Grid Corporation of the Philippines and the government continues. Nelly Marie Buhok will tell us why.
The power reserve shortage and red tape are the primary reasons seen by Senate Committee on Energy Chairman Sherwin Gatchalian on the continuing rotating brownouts in the country. According to Senator Gatchalian, it takes years to build the power plant due to the numerous requirements of the government. He also said that the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines seems it is not doing its obligation to provide sufficient levels of ancillary services or power reserves.
71% of our power plants are 15 years old and older. So they are aging.
Yes.
In other words, more so that we need to contract reserves. And since there are no reserves being contracted, and NGCP who's supposed to contract those reserves, and they're not penalizing, obviously nothing is happening.
However, according to NGCP spokesperson Cynthia Alavanza, they have for the most part fully contracted their ancillary service requirement needed to stabilize the grid. The senator emphasizes that even the Energy Regulatory Commission had failed to monitor the NGCP's responsibilities.
From my initial analysis, there seems to be inaction on the part of NGCP and also lack of enforcement on the part of government.
According to House Committee on Energy Chairman Juan Miguel Macapagal Arroyo, the power sector is indeed experiencing problems. He said during the committee's hearing, those who have obligations to resolve the power issues are just finger-pointing.
The problem I figured out was that they were finger-pointing. If it's NGCP's fault, if it's DOE's fault, if the regulator is not doing its job, or they have a different interpretation of what should be done.
Senator Gatchalian said if the inaction of the concerned agencies persist, the thinning of the power supply in the country will continue.
If we do nothing, we'll have brownouts again. If we remain as is, status quo right now, definitely 100% ako as early as April brownout na kaagad.
Tomorrow, the Senate will conduct probe on the status of power supply in the country. The Energy Department, ERC, and stakeholders are expected to attend to answer power issues. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
For those watching our 24/7 live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook.
The Philippine National Police has filed criminal charges against 3 persons involved in the vaccine slot for sale scheme in Mandaluyong City. Leah Ilagan reports.
Charges of staffa under Article 315 of the Revised Penal Code, violation of the Anti-Red Tape Law of 2007 and the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012 were filed by the Philippine National Police against Sile Cedric Soriano Bonifacio, Melvin Polo Gutierrez, and Nina Elaine Dizon Cabrera before the Mandaluyong City Prosecutor's Office. PNP Chief Police General Guillermo Eleazar says Bonifacio tried to offer the service to his former high school classmate who rejected his sales pitch and later reported him, while the Anti-Cybercrime Group or ACG said Cabrera offered 50 to 100 vaccination slots in Mandaluyong City in exchange of money. However, Cabrera denied the allegation in a Twitter post and said that she is the one who exposed the scam. Eleazar said that an investigation by the Criminal Investigation and Detection Group or CIDG and the ACG is ongoing to determine other people who may be involved in this scam. The PNP chief further reminded the public that vaccination is free and that all they need to do is to register and wait for their schedule to get vaccinated. Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Travelers from the United States are told to reconsider pushing through their trips to the Philippines as the COVID-19 threat remains. However, American travelers who are willing to visit the country must have a complete COVID-19 vaccine. Rosalie Cos explains why.
The U.S. State Department eases its travel advisory slightly for dozens of countries, including the Philippines. From Level 4 or Do Not Travel Advisory, more than 60 countries and territories have been lowered to Level 3 or Reconsider Travel. Based on the health notice by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention or CDC, under the Level 3 Travel Advisory, travelers should be fully vaccinated before traveling to the Philippines. Unvaccinated travelers should avoid non-essential travel to the country. And because of the current situation in the Philippines, all travelers may be at risk for getting and spreading COVID-19 variants. Meanwhile, a Do Not Travel advisory is maintained to Sulu Archipelago due to crime, terrorism, civil unrest, and kidnapping, and to Marawi City due to terrorism and civil unrest. The U.S. is also urging reconsidering travel to other parts of Mindanao due to crime, terrorism, civil unrest, and kidnapping. Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The country's confirmed African swine fever cases continues to decline since the fatal hog disease was first reported in August 2019. Ray Pelayo explains why.
The Bureau of Animal Industry or BAI reported a total of 176 cases of African swine fever or ASF in the country in the past month. The number is lower than the 1,773 cases recorded in August 2020 and in April 2021 when the agency logged 520 cases. As of June 4, active cases were recorded in 19 villages in 9 provinces, particularly in Abra, Apayao, Mountain Province, Ilocos Norte, Cagayan, Eastern Samar, Leyte, Northern Samar, and Davao Occidental.
Nakakakita tayo ng magandang development tungkol sa laban natin sa ASF.
As per BAI report, half of the number of affected hog raisers have already been compensated, which reached a total of 1.55 billion pesos. BAI said that areas cleared of ASF may now start repopulating their hogs, provided that they coordinate with their local veterinary office or they can visit directly to BAI offices.
Mahigit 300 LGUs na po yung walang reported cases ng ASF for a period ranging from 90 to 180 days and more.
Currently, there are 10 farms in Luzon that conducts clinical trial for potential vaccines against ASF.
Kung magiging maganda po yung performance ng tinatrial nating bakuna, ang isa po sa direksyon natin ay mag-mass vaccination tayo, lalo na doon po sa high-risk areas.
BAI said that by declaring a state of calamity due to ASF, the LGUs may now utilize their respective calamity fund for their response efforts against ASF. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And for the news abroad, details obtained by a news website reveal that 25 of the richest Americans like Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Warren Buffett pay little in income tax compared to their massive wealth. Elsie Marcos will tell us why live. Elsie?
Kath, news organization ProPublica released an analysis of the Internal Revenue Service tax records, which showed that 25 richest Americans, including Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Michael Bloomberg, have been consistently evading their tax payments. The reports from 2014 to 2018 showed that the country's plutocrats were able to reduce their bills to pay just a small fraction of their income in taxes through a series of complex tax code loopholes, all of which are perfectly legal in erasing tax liability. ProPublica has not revealed how they managed to get hold of these records. Jen Psaki, White House press secretary, on a Tuesday briefing said that federal authorities are investigating the leak of the private tax data, which is classified as a criminal offense. In light of the exposed inequities of America's tax system, President Joe Biden is currently attempting reforms on the previous tax cuts set up by former President Donald Trump so that the rich can start paying more. ProPublica has since commented on the data analysis. Reports say that all concerned persons have been asked to comment, only to respond that they have paid the taxes they owed. Kath?
Thank you, Elsie Marquez, live from New Zealand. China becomes the first country to approve the use of COVID-19 vaccines on young children. Mavian Dog tells us the details live. Yes, Maeve?
Kath, on Tuesday, a Sinovac spokesperson claimed that China has permitted the emergency use of their COVID-19 vaccine on children as young as 3 years old. Though the World Health Organization does not recommend children to be vaccinated, the US, Britain, Singapore, and the European Union have begun vaccinations on children from 12 years old. The spokesperson, however, did not confirm a specific date as to when they will begin the vaccinations on the children. They further commented that the National Health Commission will be the one to conclude the official dates of rollout. Trials of the vaccine on children and teenagers in the early phases have been finalized, and the results are awaiting to be published by the Lancet Scientific Journal. Similarly, Sinopharm, which is China's other main vaccine, has showcased effectiveness on children, said by Sinopharm spokesperson, though there are no confirmations as to whether it has been approved. China, as of yesterday, has gained 33 new cases and has administered 777 million of its available vaccines. By the end of this year, they hope to vaccinate the 70% of their 1.41 billion people. Kath?
Thank you, Maven Dog, reporting live from Australia. Engineers at Google and Harvard have produced a three-dimensional map of a small section of the human brain using 225 million images and a whopping 1.4 petabytes of data. Early Briones reports.
The largest brain map at this level of detail to date is freely available to scientists and the rest of us online. The mapped region encompasses the various layers and cell types of the cerebral cortex, a region of brain tissue associated with higher-level cognition such as thinking, planning, and language. The brain map includes 50,000 cells, all rendered in 3 dimensions. They are joined together by hundreds of millions of spidery tendrils, forming 130 million connections called synapses. The dataset measures 1.4 petabytes, roughly 700 times the storage capacity of an average modern computer. And that's just a tiny fragment of the whole thing. Google says the sample is just 1/1,000,000th of the volume of the full human brain. Clearly, it's going to take a huge amount of work to scale that up. As still finding a way to store the immense data load and develop a way to organize and access it in a useful way. Early Briones, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I'm Kat Dumaraos, live from Bangkok, Thailand. Good evening.
The Department of Health said that the term epicenter should not be used to describe Davao City amid the surge of COVID-19 cases in the city. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
The National Capital Region is now on a downward trend of COVID-19 cases. According to Octa research team, NCR's positivity rate is improving and the region's hospital care utilization is now on the safe levels. But the group is also alarmed of the surge in Davao's COVID-19 cases. Although their hospital capacity is not yet overwhelmed, the daily average cases recorded in Davao last May 31 to June 6 is at 206. This is why, according to Octa, Davao City and Western Visayas region are emerging epicenters of COVID-19 in the country.
Well, we would say na NCR is still averaging almost 1,000 cases per day. So andun pa rin naman sa NCR plus yung epicenter. Pero we could say na there's a corresponding increase in sa Mindanao areas. Depends on the definition ng perspective ng person on what the epicenter is. From our perspective, we could say na it is also one of the epicenters ngayon along with Western Visayas.
According to Professor Ranjit Rai, they have to strengthen the existing COVID-19 infection and prevention control to prevent overwhelming of hospitals in Davao City.
Kailangan ho ang focus talaga ay increasing hospital capacity, not just po yung beds and ventilators, pero pati na rin po yung ating hospital healthcare workers po. Napaka-importante ho, yan ang pinaka-importanting aspeto ng hospital capacity, yung mga doktor at saka nurses natin. Kailangan natin improve furthermore ang testing, tracing, and isolation, lalo dito sa mga hotspots na to, and not just in Davao,
In a statement, Department of Health spokesperson Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeres said that Davao City is not an epicenter of COVID-19. The DOH discourages the use of the term in describing the rise of cases in a certain area, as epidemic centers are interpreted by some to refer to an area as the source of the infection. The DOH says they are closely monitoring the situation in Davao City due to increasing cases. The DOH once again reminds the public to not be complacent and responsibly observe minimum public health standards to prevent the surge of cases and cut COVID-19 transmission in the country. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Philippines recorded 5,462 new cases of COVID-19, pushing the total tally to 1,286,217. In its latest bulletin, the Department of Health, or DOH, said the number of active cases in the country is at 54,000. Of these cases, 92.6% are mild, 3% are asymptomatic, 1.22% are moderate, 1.8% are severe, and 1.4% are in critical condition. The DOH also announced 7,854 more patients who have recovered from the viral respiratory disease, bringing the total recoveries to 1,210,027. The number of COVID-related deaths climbed to 22,190, with 126 new fatalities. The DOH noted in its report that 8 accredited testing laboratories failed to submit data on time.
Several vaccination sites in Metro Manila temporarily suspended their inoculation after vaccine supplies run out. However, according to the National Task Force Against COVID-19, more vaccines are set to arrive in the country this week. Janice Inhente has the story.
More than 3 million additional doses of COVID-19 vaccines are set to arrive in the Philippines tomorrow, June 10. The National Task Force, or NTF, against COVID-19 said that of the 3.2 million doses, 1 million are from Sinovac, while around 2,280,000 are Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine jobs from the Global Initiative COVAX facility. The local government of Marikina has temporarily suspended their inoculation after vaccine supplies ran out. According to Marikina City Mayor Marcy Teodoro, they only have 200 doses left, which are allocated for house-to-house vaccination for bedridden patients.
Sa ngayon, habang walang bakuna ginagawa natin, ulitin ko, nagbabakuna tayo ng mga bedridden patients dahil nga kukonti na lamang ang bakunang meron tayo.
Antipolo City in Rizal is still waiting for more vaccine supply from the national government. San Juan City has less vaccine reserves remaining, and they are also asking for more supply.
We have over 11,000 the first doses left, at ang commitment ko kay Secretary Galvez at Secretary Dizon ay by the weekend ubos na ho yan.
Apart from the cities mentioned, some other cities are also running out of vaccine supplies and have been forced to stop the vaccination program. According to Vaccine Czar Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr., there was a delay in the arrival of the supply of vaccines in the Philippines. This is still due to the lack of global supply because many countries are struggling to reach herd immunity against COVID-19.
Last week at saka ngayong week, medyo nahirapan talaga yung LGU considering that na-delay yung ating supply. Nagkaroon tayo ng delay kasi alam natin na yung nagkaroon ng massive vaccination ang mga different countries ng mga kung saan nandun yung mga manufacturing companies. So nakita natin talaga medyo nag-constrict. Pero sa ngayon, nag-open up na naman ulit. So sa nakikita natin, dire-diretso na yung ang pamimigay ng bakuna considering yung ating mga manufacturer ay magde-deliver na.
A total of over 11 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines are expected to arrive in the Philippines this June.
Nakikita natin kasi meron tayong tinatawag na certificate of analysis. So, madidistribute natin lahat yung supply na yan na more or less mga almost 4 million. Madideploy natin yan mga June 14. Kung makita natin siguro more or less mga 6 million, i-deploy natin yan palabas ng Metro Manila.
Galvez added, when the additional supply of COVID-19 vaccines arrive, It will no longer go through the warehouse but will be deployed immediately to LGUs. Janice Inhente, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council has urged the public to participate in the online nationwide simultaneous earthquake drill scheduled tomorrow. It aims to educate and prepare the Filipinos in times of big disasters. Marvin Calas reports.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
At exactly 9 a.m. tomorrow, the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council will undertake yet another national simultaneous earthquake drill. But due to the current pandemic, the event will be held online through social media pages of the NDRRMC and the Office of the Civil Defense. It aims to educate the public in preparation for the possible occurrence of a catastrophic 7.2 magnitude earthquake, also known as the Big One. The program includes a brief lecture about the necessary measures in case a devastating earthquake strikes, as well as the preparations in times of disaster.
Ang earthquake kasi nangyayari yan ng walang pinipiling oras. And in our experiences, may earthquakes din na nagaganap during business hours. So mga nasa opisina yung mga tao, etc. Kaya gusto naming masigurado na kahit saan, nasa trabaho man tayo, nandun sa mga establishmento, ampante sila na alam nila yung gagawin kapag nagkalingkol.
The public is enticed to participate in the simultaneous duck, cover, and hold mechanism as the siren starts the alarm. Although physical drills and the conduct of scenarios were suspended to prevent further spread of the COVID-19 virus, the NDRRMC assured that the health protocols and social distancing will be managed by the LGUs in case a real disaster happens, as instructions were already given.
Back to basics muna tayo. Nakatutok tayo sa individual preparedness, yung pagdaduck, cover, and hold sa loob ng mga bahay at opisina. Yung ating mga local government units naman ay nabigyan na po ng karampatang mga paalala para kapag may emergency na ganito na kailangan magkaroon ng evacuation, masigurado pa rin yung protection sa pamamagitan ng mga face masks at saka yung pagsunod sa social distancing requirements.
The public is encouraged to take part of the event, especially the teens, pregnant women, senior citizens, and persons with disability, as they are identified as the most vulnerable sector of the society in times of disaster. Marvin Calas, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
In other news, stray dogs often wander the streets to look for food. But 12 stray dogs being trained by the University of the Philippines will soon assist in emergency response and rescue operations. Marvin Calas reports why.
Nimble, big, and breeded. These are the attributes usually incorporated with canine dogs deployed in search and rescue and police operations. But in Balay Kaibigan in the University of the Philippines, instead of the usual purebred dogs, Aspins, Asong Pinoy or Filipino dogs are the ones trained as canine. According to Professor Krista Rara, the managing director of Sagip Canine of the University of the Philippines, stray dogs are reliable if trained to help in times of disasters.
Pag may nangyari, in minutes, pwede sila ma-deploy. Pwede sila kagad pumunta dun sa lugar na merong nawawalang tao at makastart na sila ng search while we're waiting for help from outside. So yun yung maganda na meron kaming sariling canine unit dito sa UP campus.
12 Aspin dogs were currently trained in Balay Kaibigan. The training usually takes 4 months before considering them graduates. The dog hunter says it takes lots of patience and dedication in teaching Aspins due to their characteristics compared to those of domesticated dogs.
Yan, itong mga dating asong gala, katulad si Cotton, si Red Fox kanina, tapos si Nano, si Dogs, mga lumaki sa, kumbaga kung saan sa kalsada o sa mga building. So, minsan nakaka-pick up sila ng mga hindi magandang ugali. Kaya, dati palagi silang gutom. So, minsan, pag nakita sila ng basuruhan, pupunta nila, maghahanap sila ng pagkain. Pero, ngayon, dahil sa na-train na namin sila, pinapakain namin palagi, hindi na nila ginagawa yon.
Aside from emergency response and rescue operations, the Aspens were also trained to provide emotional support for people experiencing stress, especially this current pandemic.
Sila naman yung pinupuntahan ng mga estudyante, mga guro at saka mga empleyado, mga staff. Pag stress sila sa trabaho, may alam ako sa isang building na pag yung mga empleyado daw, stress na sa trabaho, lalabas sila ng 10-20 minutes sa opisina nila, pupuntahan nila sila Cotton or yung ibang aso doon para yakapin lang, matanggal lang yung stress nila, tapos babalik na ulit sila sa trabaho.
Study shows that pets provides comfort or emotional support, especially for people suffering from mental health problems. They also provide loyal companionship, enhanced self-esteem, and motivate socialization. Marvin Calas, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And before we close, we will leave you with a final word, giving glory to God. From the book of Psalms, chapter 37, verse 4. It says, "Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart." And those are the reasons behind the news, June 9, 2021. I am Harleen Delgado.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I'm Angelo Castro III.
And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.